Hello, everyone, and welcome to another demo using generative AI and the art of possible to showcase. So what we are going to build today is basically we are going to build today a training video where we are going to have any article of your choice, pass it to the prompt of the large language model, instruct the prompt to generate for example, the lecture, the slides, the lecture notes, and then eventually the output is going to be a training video. So we are going to use a couple of services and some of the Python libraries over here to complete our task. So the first that we are going to use is Amazon Bedrock, which is the easiest way to build and scale your generative AI application with all the foundation models. Then we are going to use a text to speech AI tool, which is Amazon Poly. So we are going to use that. And then within the Poly, we are also going to leverage some of the SSML tags. So the SSML tags basically gives you an additional control over how Amazon Polly generates the speech from text that you provide. So it may, emphasize certain words, include breathing sound, whispering, and so on and so forth. It gives you a little bit of more natural way to do that. So yeah, so and then we are going to use some of the Python libraries for if to make the final video. So the approach that we are going to take is basically we will take an article of our choice, we'll pass it to the prompt with some business rules out to it. So we'll take a look at what those business rule are in our case. And then the output of that prompt is basically before that it will also ask that how many slides that you want to create for from that particular article, and also in which language you want to do that. So based on all of this, it will return back the slide for each of those slides, the title, the key points, and the lecture notes. The lecture notes are eventually going to get converted into the audio because we are going to eventually make a talking video out of it. So we'll do that. The additional approach that I'm taking is basically creating a PowerPoint slide out of those so that you can also leverage that to present it in case if you have to, along with the training videos as well. And then there is an intermediary step, and this is the approach that I'm taking. There might be a better way to do this, but for this demo I'm taking this approach where we are going to take the PowerPoint slide, convert that into a PDF, and then for each of the pages of the PDF we'll convert that into a high resolution image, and then that image along with the lecture notes is going to get mapped to create the final video. And that's how that Python library works. So let's get started. In the first cell, we are going to import some of our libraries so that we can use the Boto 3 client. So let's do that. Then we are going to initialize our Bedrock runtime. So let's do that as well. The other function, the next function, which is invoke model over here, which I have created, basically it uses the convert stream to get the streaming response back and passes the model ID, the prompt that I'm passing, and some of the inference configuration. You can always change it based on your needs. And then because we are doing the demo, we would like to see what the information is coming in. So we are going to print the stream response back. But at the same time, we are also going to capture the complete response because ultimately we are going to parse it and start creating our videos. So let's initialize this function as well. The next function is basically helping us to scrape a particular URL. So we are going to use the request module from Python and a beautiful soup module. What it does is that it will go ahead and scrape the URL based on the rules that you define. So we are going to use the AWS what's new announcement so that we can extract some of the content for our needs. So let's do that. The next cell is basically giving the URL. So in this case, we are using a new announcement of Llama 3.2 generative AI models on Amazon Bedrock. You can use any other announcement, but for the purpose of the demo, we are going to do that. So let's do that. The next cell is basically optional if you like to read it directly from a text file. So basically just a simple Python a code which will open up a file path and then read the content from the text file and then do the same thing. So we are going to skip that for the purpose of the demo. The next cell is basically taking the article and then storing the result. So in this case, the result would be the AWS What's New announcement that we have scraped it. And then it also takes the number of slides that you would like to create. Now, the business rule that we have added is that if you say number of slides is 2, then there would be an intro and an outro slide also added, and we'll take a look at that. So let's initialize this as well. And then the next is basically the language selection. So in this, for the purpose of the demo, we are going to see Spanish, English, and Hindi. So I'm going to start with Hindi. So once you do the language selection as Hindi, it will equate the voice ID and the language code, which is actually going to be used by our Amazon Poly API, because it needs the voice ID and the language code to generate the audio around that. So let's select Hindi over here. Now this is the um, main prompt, which is going to do all the magic for us. So we are going to pass in the role, that what this particular prompt, what do we need over here. Then we are telling that create these number of slides. Now these are the number of slides that we selected before, the context that we are passing as an article, and some of the instructions. So what we are telling is that create you add a title, which is a single sentence that summarizes the main point, and then the key points, and then the lecture notes, and then add one extra slide for the intro and one extra slide for the outro. And then just a small rule where if you see the numbers, and then if there is a translation available in that particular language, so do that. And then the output that we are looking for is basically a JSON array of object. So that's the output that we are telling. And then also instructing to add the Amazon Poly SSML tags into all of the lecture notes, so that we can create these audios out of it. And then an example. So that's what the instructions are for this particular prompt. So let's go ahead and initialize the prompt. And the next cell is basically where we are going to invoke the model. So we pass the prompt, and in this case, we are going to use Anthropic Claude 3.5 Sonnet for our purpose. So let's do that. And as you can see, the real-time streaming response is coming back. And as you can see, there is um, a lecture notes that are going to get started. So you have a title, you have key points, and then the lecture notes that are coming in. So as you can see, it's going to finish up with all those information out there, and then it also has an outro slide out here. The next cell is basically we are going to peek into our information, whether everything looks good over here. The next function is basically where this is a helper function where it will help us to delete any particular file that was already there. This is again for the demo, so I just want to make sure that I delete the previous file and just recreate everything there. So this is just a helper function. The next are a bunch of imports from the Python library pptx, which will help us to create the PowerPoint slide. So let's initialize those. Then the other function is basically going to iterate through the lecture JSON. So remember, the lecture JSON is basically the one which we have stored as a part, the output that we got from the large language model, and then we have loaded that as a JSON. So that is the lecture JSON. So we are going to iterate through that and then create the slide. So the code is pretty straightforward. We just look into the layouts and then start adding the title, the key points, and the lecture notes out there. So let's do that. The next cell is basically going to save our presentation. So that's now where it has saved the presentation for us. Now, I've added a manual step over here. You can always automate it. I found it a little bit error prone when I was using Python at this point in time to convert my PPTX to a PDF library. So I chose the path so that it's much more cleaner. So what we're going to do is that we will navigate to our lecture PPTX over here, and let's download. We'll open it up and take a look at what the output looks like. So as you can see, this is the output from here. So let's go ahead and save this or export this as a PDF out there. And as you can see, also there are lecture notes which are also embedded within this over here. So let's go ahead and export this as a PDF. And the naming convention that I've used over here is the lecture PDF. So let's go ahead and export it. So now we'll come back over here and then we'll go to our the newly PDF and then put it back to where our code was in there. So now, since we have our PDF in there, let's go ahead and let's continue with our demo. So the next is basically we're going to start the Amazon Poly process. So we are going to import some of the libraries and also initialize our Amazon Poly client. So let's do that. The other is basically cleanup of the folders. Now why we are doing that? So we have two folders, as you can see over here. One is basically the slide images and the lecture audio. So the lecture audio is going to contain all of the lecture notes, audio files, which are going to get created through Amazon Poly, and the slide images are the one which are going to be for each of the pages of the PDF that we created. So those images are going to get stored because we are going to take these two and then combine it and create our video out there. So let's set up our folders, if and let's clean up the folders as well in case if there is any information in there. Now here, as you can see, the next function is basically going to generate the audio for us. So here we are just using the polyclient synthesized speech API. We are using the neural engine as a part of this demo, and then the output format is MP3. And since we have SSML tags out there, so that's why we are telling that there is an text type and then the language code in here. So let's initialize this function. The next function is going to enumerate through our lecture JSON like before, but now it's going to create these different lecture audios using Amazon Poly. So let's fire up this. So as you can see, it has successfully created all of the lecture audios out here and then finished it and then store it into our lecture audio folder out here. So now let's clean up our slide images. And now we are going to use the PyMu PDF library from Python, where it's going to go to each and every pages of the PDF and then create the image for us. So let's do that. So as you can see, the for each of those PDF images, we have the we have the images created over here. Now we are going towards the tail end of this, where we are going to combine all of these things together. So slide one image gets combined with the lecture one audio, slide two, with the lecture two audio, and then everything gets combined. So for this, I'm using the movie py Python library and the related imports from there. So let's go ahead and delete the initial set of MP4s that I may have created. And now this is the main code. So what it does basically just iterates through those two folders for the images, for the audios, and then start combining all of them, and then combine the final set of things to create the audio. And then this is the main write video file function, which takes the output file name, some of the codecs, and then go from there. So let's go ahead and initialize. So as you can see, it's working on it and then start creating the video. So let's wait for it to get finished. So as you can see now that the video is ready, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. So let's browse to our lecture video real quick. It's the lecture MP4 file. So this is the one. So let's go ahead and download this file and let's go ahead and play this. So let me increase the volume and hope that you all can hear this.
नमस्कार और इस व्याख्यान में आपका स्वागत है। आज हम Amazon Bedrock में नए लामा 3.2 जनरेटिव एआई मॉडल्स के बारे में चर्चा करेंगे। हम इन मॉडल्स की विशेषताओं, उपलब्धता और उनके संभावित अनुप्रयोगों पर ध्यान केंद्रित करेंगे। चलिए शुरू करते हैं। लामा 3.2 मॉडल्स विभिन्न आकारों में आते हैं।
So as you heard that there was a pause between the previous and the next transition. The reason that it is there because we instructed into the prompt that for the lecture notes before you end, add a breathing time of, let's say, 2 seconds. So it added that break time, and that's how you get that natural feeling of these videos moving. So let's continue to hear a little bit
1
more.
बिलियन से लेकर 90 बिलियन पैरामीटर तक ये मॉडल मल्टी मॉडल कार्यों का समर्थन करते हैं, जिसमें उच्च रेजोल्यूशन छवियों का प्रसंस्करण शामिल है।
So as you can see, it is able to translate the numbers into the native language, but at the same time, it is also using some of the English terminologies. You can always control the translation the way that you want, but sometimes the words are also similar when you go towards the translation. You can always control it, but it just wanted to show you the demo. So with this, as you can
छोटे
see,
मॉडल्स ईस्ट और
it will
Amazon
also
Bedrock
talk
में उनकी
about the
उपलब्धता पर
outro
चर्चा
slide as well.
अधिक जानकारी के लिए कृपया लॉन्च ब्लॉग लामा प्रोडक्ट पेज।
So let's go back to our demo. So as you saw as a summary, that we are able to take an article, use the prompt, add our instructions, and then convert that into some of the lecture notes, create a PPT out of it, and then using Amazon Poly text to speech, we are able to generate the audio for those lecture notes and then stitch everything together to create a video. So as you can see with this generative AI solution, a lot of things can come together to create a solution like this. So, we are using Amazon Bedrock with the foundation models. We are using text to speech AI tool from Amazon Poly, and then we are using some of the libraries of Python to generate the final outputs. Everything works together in tandem, and then there is a unified solution that you get. So again, thank you so much for watching, and please, happy building and keep exploring a lot of art of possible with generative AI solution. Have a great day. Thank you.